أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Students, the topic we are going to discuss is humor in the prologue to the Canterbury Tales. First of all, let's define what humor is. Humor is what makes the reader smile or laugh. It is a pervasive feature of human life. ये अगर ह्यूमर को डिफाइन करना हो, उसकी डेफिनेशन को अगर हम देखें तो वो यही है कि ह्यूमर इज व्हाट मेक्स द रीडर स्माइल और लाफ. ओके, ह्यूमर इज व्हाट मेक्स रीडर स्माइल और लाफ. दिस इज डेफिनेशन ऑफ ह्यूमर. तो ह्यूमर को अगर डिफाइन करना हो तो ये इसकी डेफिनेशन है इतनी सी. It is a pervasive feature of human life. We find it everywhere, at work, at plays, in private and public affairs. So where does we find humor? We find it everywhere, at work, whether we are at playgrounds or wherever we go in the world, in private and public affairs. Humor is there. There are many types of humor in literature, and in Chaucer's Canterbury Tales can be found many of them. तो ह्यूमर जो है उसकी टाइप्स भी हैं आगे. जहाँ तक चौसर का ताल्लुक है तो उसमें वो डिफरेंट टाइप्स पाई जाती हैं. And it should be clear, a good sense of humor is one of the essential skills of any great writer. Geoffrey Chaucer is one of those artists who exerts a puzzling amount and variety of humor and builds it in a remarkably subtle manner. He makes the common reader laugh and the intelligent reader smile. He is the first great humorist in English literature. What are the types of humor? So let's discuss all these types one by one. The first one is there is an anecdotal humor, a short story used to make a point. Chaucer is using a social anecdote to entertain and draw attention to certain problems in the society. Second one is dry humor. Dry humor is usually is used frequently in literature. It is a type of humor that delivers comedic stories or quotations without showing emotions. A reader might not be sure whether the story is serious or whether it is a joke. It can be blunt, sarcastic, and witty. Usually occurs in dialogues, quotations, short lines of intelligence in a text. तो अगर ये पूछा जाए कि ये किस तरह की होती है तो it is blunt, sarcastic, and witty. Where does it occur? It is found in dialogues, quotations, short lines of intelligence, and text. Dry humor is also called black humor, and it can be found in literary works as well. It makes fun of matters that are taboo. Black humor appears, for example, in the general prologue of the Canterbury Tales in the description of the cook. But a mortal pity, it seems to me, that on his shin an ulcerous sore had he, yet he made it with the best. Then there is a third quality, that is nonsensical humor. Another type of humor used in literature is nonsensical humor. Usually it delivers messages that do not make a lot of sense. It was frequently used, for example, by the writers Lewis Carroll. Functions of humor. What is the function of humor? What is the role of humor? What does humor do? It is the humor which enables us to see the person's point of view, to distinguish between crimes and transgressions. Above all, it is humor which points out those enduring peculiarities, those little foibles and harmless weaknesses which give a character a warm place in our affections. By his keen observation and insight, Chaucer detects ridiculousness in men and women and presents before his readers in an amusing manner. Some of the facts are quite trivial in themselves but become amusing in the way Chaucer tells them. So far as Chaucer is concerned, so these are the lines related to Chaucer, and the function of humor is quite clear. It is to see the person's point of view, to distinguish between crime and transgressions. And it is humor which points out those enduring peculiarities, means specifications, particularities, those little foibles and harmless weaknesses which give a character warm place in our affection. So far as Chaucer's humor is concerned, the Canterbury Tales reveal Chaucerian humor in all its varieties. In the prologue, every character is dexterously enlivened by humorous touches and the pageant of Mary Pilgrim's lives vividly in our memories. There is a light-hearted touch of a genuine humorist when Chaucer presents the prioress. Chaucer makes a sly dig at her tenderness when he says that she is so charitable and tender-hearted that she would weep if she saw a most continent tramp. Though a prioress, uh, she indulged in lovemaking. To Chaucer, with his frequent voyages to foreign countries, her French appeared perhaps rather Londonish and hardly Parisian. तो चौसर किस तरह से ह्यूमर यूज करता है, माइल्ड ह्यूमर है उसका, वो डिफरेंट कैरेक्टर्स को, जैसा कि प्रायरस को उसने यहाँ पर एक्सपोज किया है, तो प्रायरस के हवाले से वो ह्यूमरस रिमार्क्स दे रहा है. Chaucer's whole point of view is that of the humorist. This is very important. He is a comic poet who saunters gaily through life, pausing the notice every trifle as he passes. He views the world as the unaccustomed traveler views a foreign country. This is very important thing. Okay, he views the world as the unaccustomed traveler views a foreign country. He possesses the faculty of amused observation in a preeminent degree. Again and again, he contrives to invest some perfectly trifling and commonplace incident with an air of imaginativeness. This is very important, and by so doing, to make it at once realistic and remote. He is using this tool of humor, but he doesn't leave reality. He doesn't avoid reality. He doesn't ignore reality. Chaucer's humor, as has been acknowledged by almost every critic, is always sympathetic. This is always sympathetic in the prologue, except in his handling of the monk and the friar, there is no sting in it. This is also very important thing कि अगर उसने किसी कैरेक्टर को नहीं बख्शा, उसे नहीं छोड़ा, तो वो monk and friar हैं. ये बात ध्यान में रखें. There is no sting in it except monk and friar, and his humor is sympathetic towards all the other characters except monk and the friar. You can be asked in short MCQs in multiple choice questions के mention those two characters that Chaucer has not spared in case of applying sympathetic humor. So these are the monk and the friar. As Liaquat puts it, Chaucer does not treat with the disdain those whose foolishness he has fathomed, nor does he turn away in disgust from the rascal whose tricks he has detected. Here it means that Chaucer is not prejudiced in case of portraying his characters. We have already learned this thing that Chaucer's humor is not prejudiced. Chaucer's humor is sympathetic, except the monk and the friar. And so far as Chaucer's own subjectivity or objectivity is concerned, Chaucer is always objective in case of applying all the poetic techniques, in case of portraying his characters, in case of representing his age, in case of telling us anything about all the characters. Nor does he turn away in disgust. He feels no disgust. He is not disgusted with anybody else, even the rascals. If humor can be defined as a sympathetic appreciation of the comic, the faculty which enables us to laugh, but to laugh affectionately and sympathetically, then Chaucer was indeed a great humorist. This is one thing that is to be considered कि अगर हमें इस हवाले से देखना हो कि sympathetically और affectionately अगर हम लव करें किसी कैरेक्टर को पढ़ने के बाद या देखने के बाद after the writer has presented to us, so Chaucer comes to our mind. He is a great humorist. So far as his description of wife of Bath is concerned, in his description of the wife of Bath, he reminds us of Shakespeare's treatment of Sir Toby in Twelfth Night and of Falstaff in Harry Foe. In fact, Chaucer makes us appreciate our character even when laughing at it. Moreover, Chaucer invariably makes more fun of the individual than of the institution to which he belongs. Mockery, says Liaquat, either discreet or uproarious, never withered in him the gift of poetry. Chaucer practices humor repeatedly in the Canterbury Tales, not only to entertain, but also to call attention. Sometimes in some books it is mentioned that Chaucer has utilized humor for the sake of entertainment. You should keep it in your mind that his humor is not just only to entertain others, but it is to call attention to the social problems of his day. Through the irony and satire, Chaucer attacks two institutions of medieval society, the church and the marriage. These are the two institutions that are attacked by Chaucer in his writing. He has revealed these two institutions well. He has satirized, he has satirically uh, portrayed the characters belonging to these two classes, having attachment with these two classes. He has ironic remarks. He ironically deals these two institutions, and the church was corrupt enough during the times of Chaucer, and the church, being a religious institution, is not expected to be corrupt. But there was corruption at a larger scale so far as the church is there, and the marriage, institution of marriage is also criticized by Chaucer. The Roman Catholic Church is, according to Chaucer, permitted with hypocrisy and is also concerned with earning money, and the members of the church constantly break their own rules. It means the members of the church were not observing the rules of the church. They were least concerned with the rules of the church. They were getting wealth as well. They were morally corrupt. They were financially corrupt. In every aspect of life, they were corrupt. They were concerned with their own self rather than the church. Chaucer is upset with the church's hypocrisy and he wants to see it changed. The reader can find a lot of remarks and criticism almost in every tale and the prologue. Then comes the next point. His humor is often directed at human bodily function and sexuality. Everyone has some kind of imperfection, and Chaucer describes these imperfections in a light way. His humor also contains signs of sympathy, and the reader easily gets to the stage when he feels regretful for the particular character. Chaucer makes the reader appreciate a character even when he or she is laughing at it. Then there is another quality of Chaucer's humor. Chaucer's humor is refined. This is very important thing. The purpose of humor in Chaucer's poems is not to hurt others, but just to eliminate and illustrate just what they are. It is said that Chaucer's humor is gentle because he has a deep affection for humanity. Chaucer was a humanist. He loved humanity very much. He is a lover of mankind, a philanthropist. He loves men equally, whether good or bad. He was never prejudiced to any of the human beings, as it is clear in the prologue to the Canterbury Tales that he has not anything applied to any of the characters that can be called a prejudiced approach. He is not biased towards anybody. He neither condemns fools nor shows disgust for rascals. He gently unmasks their nature, manner, or behavior. He wants to give player by portraying their funny traits artistically, revealing the secret of their foibles. He intends to amuse or delight the readers. His humor is free from biting, biting satire. Sorry. However, he exposes the vices of the society in a subtle and gentle manner. The test of humorist is his readiness to laugh at himself as much as at others, and Chaucer emerges successful in this test. अगर सवाल ये पूछा जाए what is the test of a humorist, so it should be kept in your mind that it is his readiness to laugh at himself as much as at others. He evokes humor at his own cost as well as at the cost of his pilgrims. He spares not or even himself and cracks many a jest at his own expense. So far as uh, characterization is concerned, his characterization of almost all the characters here is indeed humorously satirical. We uh, do have examples of pure humor also in the prologue. For example, we laugh at the scare's lovesickness, the leanness of the clerk of Oxford and of his horse, which is compared to a rake. The motive behind this kind of humor is laughter for its own sake, but irony becomes much more conspicuous in Chaucer's treatment of characters, especially when the poet shows a corrective motive. However, Chaucer, as an ironist and satirist, is not out to reform people. And keep it in your mind that we can never call Chaucer a reformer. He was just hinting towards vices. He was just portraying society. And so far as a reformer is concerned, a reformer has many other concerns as well, but Chaucer was not concerned with the reformation of the society or the people. He was just exposing the people, but he surely finds amusement in absurdities, affectations, and some of the minor vices of the people he deals with. The chief point to note about his use of ironical satire is that it does not, like Swift, feel enlarged or infuriated by the weaknesses and shortcomings of human beings because his attitude towards them is not only tolerant but also indulgent. Keep it in your mind. There is a difference between Swift. Swift was also a writer. Swift was not tolerant towards his characters, but Chaucer has a great deal of tolerance in case of portraying his characters, in case of dealing his characters. This reason helps temper his irony with humor, making the overall satire thoroughly delightful and free from the taint of cynicism and pessimism. We find kindly and patronizing humor. This is a very important thing. We find sympathetic humor, as we discussed above, but we also find a patronizing humor in the case of the clerk of Oxford. The Oxford clerk was a scholar in chess, but loved to learn and to teach. Chaucer's humor becomes broad and semi-farcical in the case of the wife of Bath. She was a little deaf and gap-toothed. All her life, she was an honorable woman. She had 5 husbands at church door, besides other company in her youth. All the remedies of love were at her fingertips. There is an ironic humor in the case of the doctor of physic. Chaucer's humor becomes coarse and rough when he presents the miller and the reeve. Where is Chaucer's humor coarse and rough? The answer is when he presents the miller and the reeve. And so far as the wife of Bath is concerned, here Chaucer's style is different. He has dealt with different characters differently, respectively, according to the need of the time, according to their features, their portraiture necessities, and all the things that were expected or unexpected of them. The satirical tone of Chaucer's humor is well represented in the character of the monk, the friar, the pardoner, and the summoner. These ecclesiastical characters deserted their religious duties. We have already discussed that clergy was corrupt during the time of Chaucer. Monk is also related to the church. He is also belonging to clergy class. The partner is also, summoner is also there. So far as these characters, these ecclesiastical characters are concerned, they were least concerned with their duties, they were least concerned with their religious duties, they were corrupt enough, and they were ignoring religious values. Materialistic and amorous things became the part of and parcel of their lives. That was a trend among them. Chaucer mildly satirizes the monk who became a worldly person and loved hunting and riding, because hunting and writing were not expected of clergy. The partner was a cheat and a hypocrite, whereas the religious preachers have to preach truth, and if they themselves are cheating others and hypocritically cheating them, this is not a good thing. But Chaucer has applied his technique of humor in case of portraying the partner. By his feigned flattery, he duped innocent persons and squeezed money out of their pockets. Fraudulently, he got a lot of money. The summoner was a rock. If a person greased his palm, he was above the law and could do wicked things for a full year. Chaucer's humor is not tinged with bitter satire. Chaucer looked on and smiled on the follies of the people. He was a master of irony and sympathetic humor. Chaucer's humor is almost innocent fun. This is about Chaucer's humor. And so far as Chaucer's humor is concerned, we have discussed it once more. I repeat it, how to define this is definition of humor. What is it? It is a pervasive feature of human life. Where do we find all these things? At work, at plays, at private and public affairs, and you can add that we find it everywhere, wherever we go. अगर सवाल ये पूछा जाए कि are there different types of humor? It is also clear that there are different types of humor. We have discussed them one by one. Okay, and if you are expected to answer what is black humor, so you can say that dry humor is also called black humor. Then there is a nonsensical humor. We have discussed it. Functions of humor का जहाँ तक ताल्लुक है, तो ये भी हमने अभी किया है. Then comes the discussion about Chaucer, how he has applied humor to portray his characters, and we have discussed different characters who are a victim to his humor or satire. Uh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.